So if you can just start writing this down as soon as you've written the or and submitted the AC. Sure. Is it, did you see it? Were you able to upload it? Yeah? Yeah, Google Classroom is glitchy, yeah. Oh, sorry, Cassie. Yes, this is part of your notes. Yeah, I wasn't looking at my Google Meet screen. So essentially, I call this, there's four different types of regressions, okay? And the reason why I call this type 0 is because I used to not have a type 0. I didn't until I've taught grade 12 applied a bunch of times. So I was like, you know what? I always had type 1, 2, 3 in this course, and all my handouts have type 1, 2, or 3 on the handouts. So I'm like, how can I insert this? I called it type 0 because I wanted to do this before everything else. And basically, the one thing I want you to remember from this type is that you are basically given points. Points are given to you. Okay, you don't have to come up with the points. Points are given to you. And sometimes students found it too good to be true and didn't know what to do with it. It's like, well, no, that you can perform the regression by just typing in these points, right? And so I'm going to go slightly to the top and just say points are provided. Points are given. Okay, that's how you want to know type 0 by. Okay, points are given to you, they're there, no need to come up with them. The other three are you're gonna have to come up with that third point. You know, they're gonna only give you two, but you will have the knowledge to come up with that third one, and you'll see what I mean in a bit. Okay, turn off, turn off, stat. Okay. So let's read the question, right? An airplane performs a stunt at an air show. The stunt consists of a sudden drop followed by a rapid increase of in height. So it's like a going down and back up. The stunt ends when the plane reaches the initial height. So you got to imagine a plane is flying like this, and all of a sudden there's a stunt, right? That it does this and then back. So there's the initial height here, and then you come back to that. That's when it ends, okay? So it doesn't go on forever. The table below shows the height of the plane at different times. So you've got time and height. And I can guarantee you, right, that the first one will always be x and the second one will always be y. Okay? On a table, the first row is always your x values, your second are always your y values. So you don't have to fear that. Okay? And we will put this in L1 and we will put this in L2 accordingly. Okay? So you somehow indicate, okay, I know what's happening here. I'm going to enter those points into my calculator. And so that's what I'm going to do because they're asking me for the equation anyways. Okay. So in applied, anything on that page, so let's say this is the page on a test or exam, any work done anywhere on that page is considered part of the work. Okay. So if you do some work, if you make this indication on the table, it's still showing us that you know what you're doing. So let's go stat and press, so I'm going to go home screen, right? Stat, enter, and I'm going to type in the top row into X, into L1. I already did that while you were copying, okay? And I'm going to type the second row into L2, making sure I don't make a mistake or I miss a value. So I'm double checking right now as we speak. I'm double checking because it's just too bad to lose marks there. Okay, and you will be frustrated because everything will be off. If your equation is off, everything will be off that you answer thereafter. Okay, so you've got that. So I'm going to just do this, okay? As part of my answer, I'm just going to focus on A here. Okay, so for A, to determine the equation, okay, I will just go stat, calc, quad reg, and then I'm going to come up with my, if you don't have exactly the same keys and you give me more, that's fine. Like, don't panic over, I need to have it exactly this way, but that's what I usually would recommend. So let's go ahead and come up with our regression. How do we do that again? Stat, calculate, number 5 for quad reg, second 1, comma, second 2, comma, vars, y vars, enter, 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 and there's my equation. So I'm going to write that down. Okay, 9.375. I just feel like doing 3 decimals now, okay? Minus 183.750 x plus 1080.001. If you do 3 decimals, keep it consistent, but you could do 2 decimals and it'll just be that, right? It's up to you, as long as you do it correctly. So this is the equation, done. Okay. By the way, every point on this line will be what? I will just make sure I know. X is time and height. I always like to emphasize that every point, every coordinate, that's what the numbers belong to. It belongs to time and height, okay? So if you have that clear, then you're more better equipped to answer the questions, okay? B, what was the initial height of the plane prior to performing the stunt? Initial height is going to be 0c, right? 0c is going to give us that, like the c value of the equation. So that's going to be 0, 1080.001, right? So initial height, we need to use units, is feet. Yes, you can. You could have just gone 1,080. That's fine. Yes, I'm just sticking to the 3 decimals. That's what I've chosen to do, and I just stick with it. But if you want to round to 2, it would have been correct to do 1,080. That's it. Okay. C. How long did it take to perform the stunt? Right. Just gonna. How long? So I'll give you a visual, right? It starts here at the initial height. So technically, I have something like this, time and height. So it starts here, and then it does a stunt. It comes back to here. How do I know that? How do I know that this is what the graph will look like? Well, maybe I peaked already and I got ahead of myself, right? So what I will do is I will graph it once. Let's turn it back on. Let's turn our calculators on. And let's graph it. And I hope you don't see anything. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna purposely not see anything right now. So this is, let's say I'm zoom 6. I don't see a thing. Okay, this is where you have to be very careful. Zoom 9 is your friend, but only if you know how to use it. Okay, so if I use Zoom 9, I'm gonna try it. Zoom 9. It's not doing anything. Why not? What's wrong? It's higher, but why is Zoom 9 not taking me to the points? Because remember, I have a bunch of points in there. Why is it not taking me to those points? Yes. Plot 1, everybody press y equals, right? Plot 1 needs to be turned on. Okay? And I'll make a note on right here in a bit about that. So now that plot 1 is turned on, I can go zoom 9, and it's just going to narrow it down for me. And there it is. It just makes sure that the points you have in there are shown. That's all it does. It doesn't fix all your problems, but it narrows it down. Okay? So I know the graph is going to look like this, right? That's what I'm interested in. It starts here and the stunt will end here. And the time from here to here is what I'm after, right? So I need to see a bit more. So how are we going to do that? We're going to increase our X max. Okay? So go window, go to X max. I will just double that. So that'd be 32 or so. And hit graph again. And now it's there. More importantly, okay, this is good enough technically, but I always like to see a little bit to the left of the y-axis and a little bit below the x-axis. I always like to do that. So I'm going to go to window and just make that happen. So x min, I'm going to just go -5 there. Okay. And y min, the same thing, just -5, just a little bit under the x-axis and to the left of the y-axis, and then press graph again. So now you have your y-axis and your x-axis there. So it's kind of like, like if you were a person on the ground, this is what it would look like from the ground, right? It's in there. You're not just looking at the curve. Okay. So how long did the stunt take? Well, we need to know from here to here. So what I'm going to do is I know that this height, I know that this point right here is 0, 1080. Okay? I will find out what this point is, which is also something 1080. So what I will do is I will say y2 is 1080, and then I'm going to go second trace 5. So let's go ahead and do that. So y equals, y2 is 1080, and I don't see it. Probably because I need to increase my y max. Okay, so I'm going to go window. If you want to be able to see 1080, this should be at least 1200, I would say, minimum. So y max is changed to 1200. There it is. And there is that line that I'm after, because that's going to allow me to find this intersection here. So I'm going to go second trace 5, go closer to that one, enter, 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 and it's 19.60 if you round it. Okay. X is 19.60, and we'll say seconds, right? So stunt took 19.60 seconds. Okay. And I'll make a note here. The first one, zoom 9 only works if plot 1 is on. Okay. Change x min and y min to -5. This makes sure you can see your x and your y axis. Okay. So I would have it a different color or highlight it so that you remember. Right? Also though, okay, listen carefully. Plot 1 is only on, oh, it's 323. You gotta hurry. Plot 1 is only on if you're using L1 and L2, right? If you're not using L1 and L2, you should have it off because you're gonna be in trouble. It's gonna give you issues down the road. Okay, I'm gonna try to hurry, okay? D. I already told you what the homework is though, right? What is the height of the plane at the lowest point? This would be second trace min, right? There's a minimum here. So second trace min, you go to the left of that vertex and to the right of it. So the minimum is 9.80 and 179.63. Okay. But you have to tell me which one of those two is going to answer the question, right? It's the 179.63, which corresponds to the height. Okay. E is asking for determine the domain and range of the situation. My domain is time. So time goes from 0 based on the context till the time that you go back to the original, which is 19.60. Done. My range is the height, right? So it goes from the initial height to the lowest point. It's the height differences between these 2 points. This is the lowest. So that's what we're going to start with, 179.63 to the highest point of 1,080. Okay, you got to be very careful. The lowest always goes first. And you never hit the ground, right? So there's no 0 here. Okay. F is the good old graphing. And I will just make the best graph at the lowest possible time. Okay, I'll try my best to make sure we get it in before. So the homework is the back of that handout, the word problem there, and the textbook questions that I have there. Okay. Graph, I need to account for 1960. So if I go 5, so 5, 10, 15, 20, that should be enough. Height, I'm going to go to like 1200 maybe. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Perfect. So 200, 400, I'm going to label every other. This is height in feet, time in seconds. 1,080, this would be just above there. 1960, I'm just going to be in line with that. The min is 980, 179, right about there, and then I'm going to graph that going that way and this going this way. All right, we made it. Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. Okay, everybody at home, as soon as you're done copying, you can log off. Thank you very much. You're here, just wait for the bell.